Hi, my name is Jon Svitak. I'm the vaccine injury attorney with the Shannon Law Group. Our firm helps people recover financially and emotionally after they experience injuries or side effects due to vaccines. And the way we do this is by pursuing compensation for them through the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. So today we're going to talk about SIRVA, and SIRVA stands for Shoulder Injury Related to Vaccine Administration. And what happens during this particular injury is if you go in for your flu shot, usually what they're trying to do is administer that into your deltoid muscle. Every so often, however, the administration is done improperly, either at the wrong spot or at the wrong angle, and it causes inflammation in your shoulder joint. So we're looking for inflammation of the tendons, the ligaments, or the bursa within your shoulder joint. And typically, if this occurs, what you're going to experience is pain in your shoulder within the first 48 hours of the administration. Now, everybody experiences some discomfort with a intramuscular vaccination. However, this should be unusual or more serious or severe than you're used to. And it shouldn't go away after a couple of days, as most discomfort after vaccines will do. So if you have pain in that shoulder within the first 48 hours and that persists, and it is associated with reduced range of motion within that shoulder, decreased strength in that shoulder, and that persists for the next days, weeks, or months, it's very likely that you have a SIRVA injury. And you're probably wondering what your options are. What should I do if I have a SIRVA injury? Well, so if you suspect that you have a SIRVA injury, I'd recommend that you go to your doctor to talk to him or her about it, explain your symptoms, and go over your treatment options. However, you'll find that SIRVA isn't a diagnosis. At least it's not commonly referred to by doctors when they're trying to figure out what's going on with your shoulder. Instead, the diagnoses that you may hear and that we also look for include adhesive capsulitis, frozen shoulder, a rotator cuff injury, bursitis, tendonitis, anything involving the tendons, the ligaments, or the bursa within your shoulder joint. You may even hear impingement syndrome, but what we're looking for again is that there's evidence of some kind of inflammation within your joint. The way that your doctor will kind of determine that diagnosis is either through a physical examination and various orthopedic tests to test the range of motion of your shoulder, whether there's an impingement sign, and whether you have full strength of that shoulder joint. The best type of evidence for this would be an MRI to really show what is going on within your shoulder joint with those tendons, ligaments, and bursa. An X-ray is not really going to show us a SIRVA injury. An X-ray will show us if you have any broken bones or a dislocation within that shoulder joint, but it's not going to confirm a SIRVA injury. If it's determined that you have one of these diagnoses, what you can expect is usually some kind of conservative treatment to start with, and that would be anti-inflammatory medications, extra strength ibuprofen, and some physical therapy to try and address the inflammation in your shoulder joint. Now, if these conservative treatments don't work, if you don't get relief or resolution of your symptoms through that treatment, then there's some other options that your doctor may consider, like a cortisone shot injection to address the pain mostly, but also the inflammation within your shoulder joint. And if those don't work and you're going on months of pain within that shoulder and it's getting progressively worse and not improving, then unfortunately surgery may be the last resort type option for you to fix whatever it is that's within your shoulder joint. And surgery, it really depends on the extent of the damage within your joint, but it can be an arthroscopic procedure, and minimally invasive surgery is usually what we're looking at. Every SIRVA injury is different. We have clients that have complete resolution of their symptoms within 6 to 8 months through conservative treatment. And we have clients that have unfortunately undergone multiple surgeries, and they're looking at years of pain and symptoms. It all depends on the nature of your injury, what is seen on the MRIs and the tests that your doctor does, and how you respond to these various types of treatment. So if you suspect that you have experienced a SIRVA injury, first, I recommend that you go to your doctor to talk about your treatment options. But second, you might be wondering if you have any legal options. And that's what we do. We file petitions for individuals in the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. And the majority of our cases are SIRVA cases. And assuming that you can meet the requirements set forth in the program, then we would start the process of drafting a petition for you, gathering your medical records, and pursuing compensation for you. Now, the criteria that would make you eligible to file a petition includes that you received a covered vaccine. So there are only certain vaccines that are covered under this program. The most commonly received vaccine and one that's covered under the program is the flu shot. However, if you received the shingles vaccine, if you received one of the pneumonia vaccines, specifically the Pneumovax 23, or if you received a rabies vaccine, these are examples of vaccines that aren't covered under the program, and we would not be able to file a petition for you in that case. Now, another criteria set forth by the program is that your symptoms have to persist for at least 6 months. So if you call us about a SIRVA injury and you're only 2 months into your injury or 3 months into your injury, and we may be interested in filing something for you, but we would not be able to do so until we can show that you've had at least 6 months of symptoms. And finally, you would have to file your petition within 3 years of the date of onset of your symptoms. So if you call us and it's been more than 3 years since you received the vaccine and you describe a SIRVA type injury, then unfortunately we most likely would not be able to pursue compensation for you in that case. Now, assuming you do meet all these criteria and you contact us for a consultation, what we would do is talk to you about your injury, talk to you about your treatment, and gather the specific evidence that we need to establish that you experienced a SIRVA injury and that you're entitled to compensation. Once we do that, we draft your petition, we gather all the evidence that we need, and we submit that through the court. The government will review that information, and then they'll tell us if they are going to dispute your case for a particular reason, or if they're going to concede that you did experience a SIRVA injury. Now, any disputes between us and the government are resolved through the judge that's assigned to your case at the U.S. Court of Federal Claims. Assuming that the judge finds you're entitled to compensation or the government concedes that you're entitled to compensation, the next question becomes, how much compensation are you entitled to and what kinds? In general, there are 3 different types. There's out-of-pocket medical expenses, anything related to the treatment that you received for your SIRVA injury. There's lost wages or earnings or income as a result of the injury. And there's pain and suffering damages. So the extent of your injury, the amount of pain that you are in, and the length of time that you are in pain and in treatment are all factors that go into compensation for pain and suffering. Now, we can either resolve that with the government through settlement, agree on a dollar amount for your compensation, or if we don't agree with the government, then again, the judge can resolve that particular dispute. At the end of the day, you will go home with a check for the compensation for your SIRVA injury. Now, you might be wondering, how do I get paid? How do the attorneys get paid? Well, we don't take a percentage of that check that you receive. We don't work on a contingency fee basis, and you don't pay us a retainer or any bills that we incur while we represent you. Instead, we petition for our fees and our costs to the government. So that's a separate decision They'll review our petition and pay us for the time that we worked on your case and the expenses that we incurred. So no point do you ever have to worry about or be responsible for our fees or our costs. If you'd like to learn more about the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program and your options, I actually wrote a book about it called Vaccine Injuries: Understanding the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. If you want a free copy of this book, all you have to do is text 312-847-2428 and say VICP, and we'll ship one out to you. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more content like this.